Genghis Khan has been described as a brilliant military strategist and a brutal military leader, known for his ability to unite and discipline the disparate Mongol tribes. And yet, he was also one of the richest humans in history, an incredibly shrewd and ruthless military commander who conquered a mind-blowing 12 million square miles of land, more than anyone else in history. He was also known for his brutality, like when the Sultan of Khorizm dynasty killed Mongol raiders and Genghis's ambassador. Genghis Khan invaded the Khorizm dynasty, sweeping through every major city and razing them to the ground, destroying the cities as well as killing anybody including women and children, thus ending the Khorizm dynasty forever. And yet, Genghis Khan was also considered as the great statesman who valued peace and prosperity as much as conquest. His inventions brought law and order to wide swathes of lands which had for centuries been ruled by brutal warlords, and his prohibition of blood feuds forced a lasting peace and an end to the petty conflict which saw constant warfare between clans and villages. However, Genghis Khan was technically considered by historians as the richest human to ever live. You see, when Genghis Khan conquered these different kingdoms, he also took their wealth and possessions, which combined with the value of land that he took, will arguably have been worth trillions of dollars, or in other words, incomprehensibly large amount that's difficult to even quantify. It was an extremely brutal way to build your fortune, but it was certainly effective. And yet, it is hard to deny that Genghis Khan is one of the greatest warlord stories there ever was. His father was poisoned by a rival tribe when Genghis Khan was only 9 years old, and Genghis himself was once captured and enslaved by a rival tribe. However, Genghis's military prowess, strategic brilliance, and ability to lead and unite the Mongol tribes into a formidable force have earned him a place among the most accomplished warlords in human history. So, Genghis's rise from nothing to unimaginable wealth and power is truly fascinating. Let's now travel back in time to the early 12th century and see where it all began. Genghis Khan was born at the time of conflict. At that time, dozens of nomadic tribes in Central Asia were constantly fighting and stealing from each other. It's reported that during this time, Genghis's mother had been kidnapped by his father and was forced to marry Genghis's father. Genghis Khan was possibly born in the year 1162, near the border between modern Mongolia and Siberia. But before the birth of Genghis Khan, his father had captured a Tatar chieftain from a rival tribe, which he became loyal to Genghis's father. So, because of his loyalty, Genghis's father loved him and even liked the name of the chieftain, Temujin. And so, soon after the birth of Genghis Khan, he was originally named Temujin. Genghis was born a member of the Bojigan tribe and was a descendant of the fabled Kabu Khan, who had done what so few Mongols ever managed to do: unite the many disparate tribes against the Jin dynasty of China 6 decades earlier. Greatness marked Genghis from birth not just in the heritage of his mighty bloodline, but physically with a literal mark caused by a blood clot in his hand. During Genghis's birth, he came into the world clothing a blood clot in his right hand, and to the superstitious Mongols, this meant that Genghis Khan was destined to become a great leader. Young Genghis, though, will have a hard education in survival ahead of him amidst the various clans that made up the Mongol lands. When he was just 9 years old, his father took him to live with the family of his future bride, and on their way back home, they encountered members of a rival tribe. But this time around, they are not there for a conflict, and instead, they invited Genghis's father home with them to share in a consolatory meal. Believing that the rival tribe members meant to bury the hatred over past aggression, Genghis's father agreed to visit their home because this is what he always dreamed of: ending the conflict between the rival tribes and live in peace and unity. And so he agreed to dine with them. Unfortunately for the young Genghis, this is the last time he will ever see his father alive. The food they gave to his father was poisoned because they believed that it is the only way for them to get rid of him. And so he died as a result of the poison. When Genghis learned about his father's death, he immediately returned home to claim his position as a clan chief. However, the rest of the clan refused to accept the leadership of a 9-year-old boy, and as a result, his family was deserted by his own tribe, becoming near refugees in their own tribe. Genghis vowed revenge and to never be laughed at again. This led him to quarreling with his half-brother after a dispute, and as a result, Genghis killed him and confirmed his position as the head of the family. The young chieftain was still a child and had already learned the brutal reality of Mongol life. Power is won by blood spill. However, when Genghis turned 16, he married the woman he had long ago been promised to, a young girl by the name of Bote. This marriage cemented the alliance between her tribe and his, but soon after the wedding, Genghis' wife was kidnapped by a rival tribe and given to their chieftain as a wife. Genghis launched a daring rescue along with his close friend Jamuka and his older protector Togrul, raided the rival tribe's camp and rescued his bride. However, when she gave birth to a son 9 months later named Jochi, there were doubts about who the real father was, but to everyone's surprise, Genghis accepted young Jochi as his own son, daring any of his rivals to question his judgment. Eventually, Genghis will have 4 sons with Bote and an unknown number of daughters. Though during the course of his rule, he will take many other wives and have many other children with them, but Bote alone will remain his lifelong companion, and only his male children with her will qualify for succession in the family. However, Genghis was captured in a raid by a tribe that had formerly been his family's allies, the Taichud. Genghis was enslaved briefly, though his iron will prove difficult to break, and he was punished several times for refusing to submit, with the help of a sympathetic captor who perhaps still held some loyalty to Genghis' family, and as a result, Genghis was able to escape. And from that moment, Genghis Khan promised himself to be extremely powerful so that he will never be captured or enslaved by any rival tribe ever again. After Genghis Khan had successfully escaped from captivity, he began making alliances, building a reputation as a warrior, and attracting a growing number of followers. He formed a fighting unit out of his brothers and some of his most trusted clansmen, believing that his people will never truly become great until they cease the pity in fighting. And with the rivalries between the various, Genghis took his small force out into the steppes and began to unite the clans together one by one. His goal was simple. He will destroy all the division between his people, thus slaughter if he had to, and the Mongols will at last become one people, a mighty nation to rival the powers of China. Young Genghis' small force will swell to an elite fighting force of 20,000 battle-hardened warriors. A brilliant tactical mind combined with the savage brutality, Genghis proved an exceptional battlefield commander, and his fighting force met its first true challenge when Genghis turned his army on the Tatars, who had murdered his father so long ago. When he successfully defeated the Tatars, Genghis then ordered as punishment that every Tatar male who was taller than the axle pin of a wagon wheel to be killed, ensuring that only children who could be molded to be obedient to the young Khan would be left alive. With one vengeance satisfied, Genghis turned next to the Taichud, the former family allies who had attempted to enslave him. Relying on an army of expert horsemen, his cavalry routed the Taichis forces, and as a revenge, Genghis had every single Taichis chief boiled alive. A few years later, he would go on to defeat the powerful Naiman tribe, who stood between Genghis and his ambition of a unified Mongolia. Their defeat will give the young Genghis control over the central and eastern Mongolia.